For over 10 years, I struggled with looking skinny fat despite going to the gym, eating well and lifting weights until I started to do things differently. My name's Jack Griffiths, and using the 3 systems I'm going to show you in this video, not only have I transformed my own physique, but I've also helped numerous other men go from skinny fat to shredded, seeing their abs for the first time in as little as 12 weeks. Let's get stuck in. System number 1 is an appropriate training program that is aligned with building muscle and seeing physical change. Going into the gym and following a random program that's not appropriate for you, or just winging it every session, is not going to be what your body needs if you've got a goal of building a lean physique. There are 3 different training variables which I'm going to go through, which have to be ticked off if you want to see change to your physique, and if you leave just one of these out of the equation, that can absolutely be enough for your progress to plateau. The first variable that you need to consider is your training volume. That means that throughout the course of the week, each of your muscle groups are being worked adequately to provide the stimulus that's needed for hypertrophy to occur. If you're following a body part specific split like chest on Mondays, shoulders Tuesdays, legs Thursdays and back and arms on Fridays, then the chances are you will not be hitting each body part frequently enough to see the types of changes you want. I'm not saying that you can't build any muscle doing a body part specific split, but unless you're at an incredibly advanced level with your training, then 99.9% of people will absolutely benefit from hitting each muscle group more often. For example, if you were to follow a full body or an upper-lower split, you could hit each muscle group 2 to 4 times per week, which from a growth perspective is absolutely going to help with adding more muscle to your frame and putting you closer to ditching the skinny fat look. The second variable is your exercise selection and ensuring that you're not constantly switching exercises in and out of your plan to try and shock your muscles. The more efficient we become at a movement pattern, for example, doing a dumbbell chest press, the stronger we'll be, the more weight we'll be able to use, and the more muscle we'll build. But if you're constantly switching from a dumbbell chest press to a barbell bench press or a machine chest press or even a cable chest press, you never give your body the opportunity to become extremely efficient, and this will absolutely cost you gains in the gym. The final and third variable for your programming is making sure that you're actually taking your working sets to failure. There's so much evidence that shows that the final reps in a set where you're giving it your all but the rep is moving super slowly are the ones that give the most hypertrophy stimulus. So if you're always training like a bit of a delicate flower and leaving 4 to 5 reps in the tank because it hurts, then you'll be leaving a huge amount of progress on the table every single session. If you do have any more in-depth questions you want to ask about the training side of things, feel free to drop them below in the comments, or you can even message me on my Instagram and I'll come straight back to you. System number 2, understanding the correct calories for your goal. I raised a question of whether you should bulk or whether you should cut when you're trying to ditch the skinny fat look, and there's a couple of different considerations here. Whilst you could take your calories into a surplus where you're consuming more than your daily energy requirements, assuming you're following everything in system 1 with appropriate training, in this scenario you would very likely build muscle. However, the problem is at any point you do go into a calorie surplus, we are also going to see an increase in body fat, and considering your problem right now is that you're already holding too much body fat to see the muscle you do currently have, it doesn't really make sense to set up a nutrition plan that is basically adding more fuel to the fire. On top of that, the other thing you have to keep in mind when it comes to building muscle is your insulin resistance. The more body fat you have, the more insulin your pancreas releases to be able to deal with your blood glucose levels, which goes towards energy storage in your cells. However, when your cells become resistant to insulin, they don't properly respond to the signal to take up your glucose from your bloodstream. So your blood sugar levels then rise. Because of that, your body compensates by releasing more insulin to try and lower your blood sugar levels, but this leads to a situation where instead of getting stored as energy within your cells, that additional glucose ends up being stored as fat instead. The reason why this is relevant is that the more body fat you already have, the more body fat you will then continue to gain when you go into a surplus. Once you're at a stage where you're very lean, your insulin resistance will be lower, meaning when you are in a surplus, a smaller percentage of the calories you do consume will end up being stored as body fat and instead go towards the process of building more muscle mass. That means that when your starting point is skinny fat, the first thing you want to do is focus on stripping the fat off your physique first so you look defined and you can clearly see the muscle you do have. For that to happen, you need to make sure that you are in a calorie deficit where the amount of calories you consume each day sits below the amount of energy you're consuming through working out, cardio sessions, and also your daily steps as well. A really basic equation you can use to figure out an approximate deficit for you is timesing your body weight in kilograms by 25, although depending on how active you are or are not, this can make a difference on what the appropriate macros are for you. And finally, system number 3, fueling your body for success. Whilst the amount of calories you consume will dictate what happens on the scales, calories alone are not the only thing that will impact your transformation from skinny fat to shredded. You also need to be putting time and effort into making sure that you're hitting your micronutrient needs if you want to fuel your body to build muscle and create a physique that you're proud of. Think of it like this: if internally your cell health is in such a bad state, you've got high levels of inflammation and you're deficient in a key number of vitamins and minerals, your body in that situation is simply never going to prioritize building and even maintaining muscle mass when it's barely even able to perform some of its vital functions at a core level. With that in mind, I think a mistake some guys do make is trying to flip their entire diet upside down in an attempt to improve their choices. But the problem with that approach is too much change too soon. It's quite often not sustainable and you just end up back at square one pretty quickly. Instead, I'd recommend that you look at the meals you're having now that you know work for you and you see where you can amend these, either from the perspective of looking at your portion sizes, but specifically for system 3, adding in vegetables to your meals or including fruit as extra snacks. Whilst ideally you would be getting all of your nutrient requirements from food, there are certain supplements that I would suggest all men take when looking to go from skinny fat to shredded that definitely won't break the bank. On the screen now, I've listed the 5 essentials all men should include to put you in the best position to see massive changes to your physique. They are creatine, which can help significantly with gym performance but also brain health, magnesium glycinate, which can improve sleep quality and recovery, vitamin D3 and K2 to help with the absorption of healthy fats, curcumin, which is a powerful natural anti-inflammatory and also has been well researched for its anti-cancer properties, and finally a good quality multivitamin just to help with ensuring that you're hitting all the bases. You could probably pick up all of these for as little as £50 and that would probably last for as long as 3 to 6 months. In summary, if you can combine all 3 of these systems together, I can confidently say that you can transform your physique from skinny fat to shredded in potentially as little as 12 weeks and have a whole new look in the mirror. If you would like some more personalized help, head over to my Instagram at Jack Griffiths Coaching and send me a direct message and I'll do my best to help you out. I'll see you in the next video.